All right, so this is a real short conversation on just self-typing and that it can be difficult. It can be difficult for many people to type themselves and sometimes to type the people they're closest to. Um, the logic behind this is simply that sometimes we can overanalyze or overdo it. We can get too deep into the little minutia of the time you said this, the time you did that, what you were thinking about, and you can kind of overcomplicate things inside your own mind. So it's very common for you to find it easy to type other people. You can see them, but difficult for maybe you to type yourself, or sometimes people very, very close to you, like a spouse or a girlfriend or something like that. Um, because again, you know them so well and you know every little detail, and you're throwing in all of this extra information that may not really be relevant, and you're having a hard time sussing through, well, what is relevant, what's not. This is where sometimes outside perspective, other people can sometimes type you a lot better than you can type yourself. And you might be scratching your head wondering, how is that possible that somebody who has only known me for 15 minutes can seemingly pick out things about me and be so direct and to the point? I mean, they're just right on the money so quickly. And I'm struggling with this. All right, it's very common. It happens to most people, happens to most of us. I could throw myself in there. I'm just as guilty of this as anyone else. Um, so this is kind of important in terms of if you really are focusing a lot on typing, it is important to get outside perspectives and outside opinions, especially from people who they know what they're talking about, all right? They understand typing stuff. They get the frame and the definitions and the system and everything. And that they've had some time to evaluate you, but they're not somebody who's so close to you that they're like, a spouse or something. They could overthink it, right? Um, so it's important stuff just to consider. This was also talked about by Dan over on Box Theory on his particular video. So I'm kind of jumping in on this a little bit. I'll link his channel on there as well. But if you're one of those people, a little struggling to type yourself, doubting a particular type, and so forth, don't feel bad about it. There's a lot of this is very, very common. In fact, most people are going to run into these kinds of issues. There's probably a small percentage of people, maybe let's call it the 80-20 rule, maybe 20% of people who they know who they are really, really well, and they know exactly their type right off the bat. There's also some people who are just such textbook perfect. They fit a category so well that it's so blatantly obvious what type they are. But for a lot of us, it's not always quite so neat and simple. It's a little bit more nuanced and complicated. So it can be kind of hard. All right. So just some thoughts to keep in mind for people, thinking about this, wondering about their type. Am I sure? Why do I struggle between this type and that type? It's normal. Just get some outside opinions from people that they know what they're doing. That's very important. You got to make sure these are people that are trusted sources. They know they have good reputation at knowing what they're doing. Okay. So I'll leave you with that.